Was COVID-19 man-made? I'm sure everyone remembers just a few years ago when COVID began. There were millions of supposed deaths, drastic economic shutdowns which resulted in economic recessions, and months of quarantine. But what if all of these issues were the byproduct of man? Well, let's dive in a bit. First off, COVID-19 began in Wuhan, China. This matters geographically, because in China there are only 2 known biosafety level 4 labs in China, one in Harbin and one in Wuhan. These types of labs typically deal with pathogens and viruses, like COVID-19. So in other words, at the same place where there was a contagious virus occurring, there was also an uncommon lab present in that area. Second off, there has been a lot of clashing amongst the Congress over whether or not the NIH funded gain of function in Wuhan. Gain of function, which according to Dr. Fauci is taking a virus that could infect humans and making it either more transmissible and or pathogenic for humans, could be a viable way to create a virus like COVID-19. Now, accusations against Dr. Fauci began when funding from the NIH to the organization EcoHealth Alliance was allocated to a lab in Wuhan where they were altering pathogens to be more contagious. Rand Paul then mentions this to Fauci during a testimony and accuses him of funding gain-of-function research. Dr. Fauci adamantly claimed during the testimony that he did not fund gain-of-function research in Wuhan. A quick clarification real quick. The accusations made so far don't directly relate to COVID-19. The accusation that Rand Paul made was that he lied about funding gain-of-function research in Wuhan. His accusation was not that Dr. Fauci had funded COVID-19 or that COVID-19 is man-made. Now, despite Fauci's adamant claims about not funding gain-of-function research, a letter from the NIH was released that essentially confirmed the funding of gain-of-function research. On October 20th of 2021, a paper was released from one of the NIH officials stating that the NIH funded an experiment which involved altering bat coronaviruses. It says here, quote, "The limited experiment described in the final progress report provided by EcoHealth Alliance was testing if spike proteins from naturally occurring bat coronaviruses circulating in China were capable of binding to the human ACE2 receptor in a mouse model. All other aspects of the mice, including the immune system, remain unchanged. In this limited experiment, laboratory mice infected with the SHC-014 bat coronavirus became sicker than those infected with the WIV1 bat coronavirus. Due to the nature of the said experiment, a violation was made against the grant made with the NIH, which in turn caused a lot of backlash against EcoHealth Alliance and a risk for their grant. But wouldn't you know it, a day after this paper had been published and the public got a hold of the data, the definition of gain of function on the official NIH website was removed. You heard that right. On October 21st of 2021, the definition of gain of function was removed, and a new definition was introduced onto the page for the abbreviation EPPP. Despite this irrelevant change of definitions, violations were still made by EcoHealth Alliance with the NIH funds. But not only this, the NIH also had the data containing the violation. So in other words, the NIH had valuable data telling them that EcoHealth Alliance was violating the terms for their grant, made no response to that data, and then further extended the grant. So either the NIH is incompetent or there's more at play. Now for some further clarification, it's still not 100% evident as to whether or not gain-of-function research was the cause of COVID-19. The particular pathogen that was being researched on is debatably far from able to evolve into COVID-19. Whether or not this is true, I'll leave it to the experts to decide on that. We've managed to come up with a lot of circumstantial evidence to support the idea of COVID-19 being man-made. One thing that we are lacking though is a definitive proof. Specifically, we don't have an exact culprit, and we don't have pure empirical proof like video footage or anything like that, so let you guys decide on how conclusive any of it is. One thing that is for certain though, is that trillions of dollars were spent from our government for quantitative easing and for the hospitals. This has already been shown to be detrimental for the economy, since now inflation is at a record high and many companies are in deficits. We've also managed to lose many small businesses, while the higher class manages to flourish. So what do you guys think? Was COVID-19 man-made? Was it even intentional? Like the video, leave a comment down below, and follow for more.